do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida.
that I am duly qualified to hold office
And I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state.
and that I will and will faithfully perform the duties of the defendant.
The hard part. That I will
That I will and will and faithfully
and faithfully
perform
perform
the duties.
the duties of the public defender.
Very good.
Well, first, just thank you all for coming. Amy and I just wanted to really do this more just to thank you all. Thank you for your support throughout the campaign. Thank you for all that you did throughout my career, really. You guys are just an amazing crew. I'm sorry the room isn't quite large enough, but that's why we did this. This wasn't about me so much. I just wanted to really have a chance to thank everybody. And thank you, Justice Labarga. It is an honor to have you here. I practiced in front of the judge in Division R for a couple of years. It's amazing, on the way over, I mentioned a case that I tried in front of him, not thinking he would at all remember the facts of the case. And he, of course, remembered facts I didn't remember. It was a pleasure to practice in front of him. I'll tell you one quick story. I have many more, but they aren't all appropriate. And I think we're being recorded. But this just kind of tells you, I think, even back then, sort of the kind of person he was, or the judge he was. I had this pretty complicated case. It was it was a difficult case. I'll spare you all the facts. And I was all geared up to write this tremendous motion to dismiss. And it was going to be layered and layered with factual issues. And I couldn't wait to get it done. And I spent just days and weeks, as long as I could, to get it just right. And I gave it to Christine to proofread even back then. I think I gave it to Patillo to proofread. And I was feeling really confident, not so much I was going to win, I didn't think I would, but just that it was going to be a very sound motion. And I gave it to him, we filed it, we argued it, I don't even remember what he ruled. About 2 weeks later, I was leaving court, and he gave me a copy of it, and it was all marked up in red. And he said, essentially, here, you can always do better. And I'll never forget that idea, is that no matter how hard I tried, I could do better. And the idea that a judge wanted me to do better, and he cared enough that I would do better for my clients, was I just remember that so vividly, and I was so thankful for it. Now, I took the red back to Cherry Grant, and she said, tell George to relax. I do want to mention just 2 judges that are no longer with us that just meant the world to me and had a tremendous impact on me. Judge Barry Cohen and Judge Mark Easy. These were men of integrity. They were men that cared so much about all of us and the work we did. They were there to push me, and all of us, it wasn't just me, to push me to be the best lawyer and the best person I could. And Travis and I would play basketball with EC, and that's really how we knew him best. And I remember he would pull us aside, and he was like, so, which one is it going to be? And this goes back, I don't know, what do you think, 15 years, 10 years? What are you talking about? He's like, well, which one of you is going to succeed, Carrie? We were like, hey, shut up, Trevor. Let's play basketball. We're not here for this. It was not even a possibility in my mind at that time. And then, of course, Judge Cohen was just a lion, and he just wanted us to defend our clients to the utmost. And if we didn't, he'd get mad about it. And I just always appreciated that about him. So they're missed. You know, I was reminded during the campaign a lot, sort of what life, I guess, is really about, which is sort of the question of why. You know, why are you a public defender, assistant public defender? Why do you want to be a public defender? Why did you stay for so long? And I do drive a minivan that's 12 years old, by the way. And you know, my grandparents were victims of what happened to Jewish people in Eastern Europe. You know, two of them survived the concentration camps. One of them is still with us. She's 99 years old. And eventually, my grandparents all emigrated to Cleveland, Ohio. That's where my parents met, and started a new life. You know, so I realized very early on in my life that I was a pretty fortunate kid, just sort of based on what my family had gone through, my ancestors had gone through. And you know, my mom and dad are here today. I never let them come to trials, but I couldn't keep them from this. And so they raised myself and my sister, and my dad worked in social services, and my mom was an artist, so we weren't doctors and lawyers, and they worked hard to give us everything that we needed. And so, you know, I realized as I was going to high school, middle school, high school, especially high school, how lucky I was. You know, there were a lot of kids that were a lot less fortunate than me, and I never could understand it. I never could understand, why do I deserve sort of getting the things that I needed that so many of my classmates and kids, you know, at Suncoast High School in Revere Beach didn't. I knew kids that were sleeping in cars. I knew kids that had to get to school super early to get breakfast because they couldn't afford food at home in the mornings. And I never understood it. And the saddest part to me, and I still remember this idea, was that those kids never complained. It was almost like they were resigned to the idea that that was just sort of how their life was going to be. So I suppose that is why I fell in love with the idea of defending people in court. People who oftentimes made mistakes because they're ill, victims of abuse, victims of neglect, or just desperate. And I always wanted to tell those stories. I just wanted to tell those stories. I wanted prosecutors and judges and juries to understand and have compassion. You know, getting close to my clients and telling their stories, in my mind, has made me a better person. And isn't that sort of what life is really all about, is to become or be the best versions of ourselves? So I owe them much more than they ever owe me. But then, the fun part is, I got to do it with all of you. I mean, you guys know that there is a sort of bond that develops when you're a public defender. My best friends were people that I started with 20 years ago. And that's become just so joyful for me. I get to do the work that I truly love, that I truly care about in the trenches with people that I know would do anything for me. And they know I would do anything for them. So that is the bond that we share. I want to just take a minute to thank my parents for everything. It's too much to really say. My uncle and aunt are also here. And of course, Amy and the boys. Want to stand up?
Yeah.
Stuff like no dad. No. Ethan, Micah, and Ben. There are two things that I heard most often on the campaign trail. You have giant shoes to fill, I know. And two, Your wife is a rock star.
Oh,
And I know. But truly, I couldn't have pulled it off without Amy's help. I'm not exactly sure how we pulled it off. But she was just there, and the kids were running around, and I don't know if they were being watched or not some nights. But somehow they're alive, and we're happy about it. I want to thank the attorneys in the civil and criminal defense arenas that helped so much. You know, in some ways, the criminal or the legal community in Palm Beach County, it's pretty small. We all kind of know each other. But it's small, and I didn't know how I was going to expand that support and get 100,000 people to put a little check next to my name. I still don't really know how that happened. But what happened was the criminal defense lawyers stepped up, and the private lawyers and the civil lawyers stepped up and helped, because ultimately what I was so impressed with is that they cared, not just about me, my future, they cared about the criminal defense clients of Palm Beach County. They wanted to make sure that they were cared for the way Carrie cared for them for her whole career. And that just, made me work harder and smarter to get the job done. I want to thank our lawyers and staff. I can't put into words how grateful I am for the support that I received from all of you throughout that process. It was truly overwhelming. People just stopping by to say, "You doing okay? I saw you on Facebook out till midnight again, doing some goofy event." And I would say, "Yeah." And they're like, Carrie's got that rule that we're not allowed to talk too much about politics or the campaign in the office, but can I just see if you're okay? I was like, "I'm okay." And then, of course, having you guys show up at events and forums, and that was the best. On the first, it was just so inspiring to me to see you guys out there giving up your nights, your weekends to care about what we were doing, what I was trying to get accomplished. But then also the other nice part was the other guy was getting super intimidated. Big Joe would just sort of stand there. There was one forum in Wellington at the end, and the other guy got kind of nervous at one point because it was a big crowd of not just PDs but criminal defense lawyers there to support me, and he was like, "I promise you'll like me eventually." And Joe said, "No." So then that was just one example, but in terms of just everything you were willing to do on the weekends and nights, I couldn't have asked for a better support group, and I don't know how to thank you enough. There are words I can't come up with. Finally, Carrie, thank you for your mentorship, your belief in me as a lawyer, administrator, person. You could not have done more for me. I can't imagine how. Our lawyers or our clients, for all of these years, you left us in a position to do just great things. You set me up just right, and our office just right for the future. And I assure you, none of us will let you down. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am confident that we're going to serve these clients right. I'm confident that we're going to do great work here in Palm Beach County. And, I'm not usually one to sort of be boastful, but my goal is to make our office the best office in the state of Florida, if not the country. And I know with the people we have in place, the chiefs that we have in place, support staff we have in place, and then the community who is really behind us. I can just tell you that from the campaign. They really were. That we're in a perfect position to just do amazing things as we move forward. And I'll always have your back, and I know you'll have mine. Thanks so much.